So the House settlement passed over the weekend. What does that mean for Tennessee football? What does that mean for other sports on Tennessee's campus? And is it good for the college game?
You are Locked On Vols, your daily podcast on the Tennessee Volunteers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, good Tuesday morning, everybody. Welcome into Locked On Vols. I am your host, Eric Kane. Appreciate you for being here, making Locked On Vols a part of your first listen, your first watch each and every single morning. We are a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it is your team every single day. I am your host, Eric Kane, a part of the VolQuest.com team here in town covering Tennessee athletics. And, of course, your host every single weekday morning when you wake up, free and available wherever you get them, here on Locked On Vols. Today's show, we are going to go over what the House settlement really means. And there's more questions than answers right now, but we're going to kind of try to work through this a little bit the best we can here in segment number one. What's this mean for football? What's this mean for roster size? How will this affect a team like Tennessee baseball? All that and more here in the first segment. Baseball season ends. Still, if you're watching on YouTube, still currently in Fayetteville, Arkansas at the time of this recording, catching a flight out early Tuesday morning. Talking about waking up at 3:30 in the morning, so that'll be fun. But coming home Tuesday morning and tough ending, but overall perspective, okay, it's important. Decent season. We'll get into that in segment number two and then answer a couple of your mailbag questions coming up in segment number three. So it was Friday night at 9:15, 9:20 Eastern time, okay? And the House settlement passed. You want to talk about the Friday news dumps of all Friday news dumps, right? I mean, we're talking 9:15 in the evening, at night, on a Friday, and that's when that passed. So what does all this mean? Well, it means revenue sharing is coming to college athletics, and that is about 3 decades too slow. This has been in the world. I mean, this should have happened forever ago. The fact that you want to tell me that college athletes who generate all this revenue for all these programs and all these schools and all these chancellors and all these university presidents and all these athletic directors and just generates all this revenue on top of revenue on top of revenue, you tell me that these guys, gals, don't deserve a piece of the pie? I mean, it's ridiculous. That is absolutely ridiculous. So I'm finally glad that revenue sharing is coming to college athletics because it has been overdue sorry, I was reading a text message. It is long overdue, all right? But it's not just revenue sharing. I mean, there's going to be roster changes as well. Full scholarships coming to Tennessee's campus. Let's start with football specifically. You're going from 85 to a 105 number, and that's not going to be in place. I think all this is supposed to be in by December the 1st. So really, we're looking at 2026 teams and beyond. So baseball technically could be, baseball, softball could technically be that first sport that's truly affected by all this. But, I mean, with football, you're going from an 85 number to a 105 number. That means that the walk-ons that, not the place where I ate, dinner and drank some cold ones while in Fayetteville or in Southern Miss a couple years ago, and no free endorsements here, but the walk-ons that comprise your programs and make these programs what it is. We love hearing the stories of these walk-ons and how they contribute to the programs or work their way up to scholarship and often work their way up to being a star player. Tennessee's starting running back right now, albeit in the NIL era, a little bit different, but Deshaun Bishop was a walk-on here at the University of Tennessee. So those walk-ons are going away. However, I'll continue using Deshaun Bishop. Players like him that are tweeners, right? They could go to Coastal Carolina where he was once committed. He can go to Tennessee Chattanooga or maybe some lower level, maybe Power 4, but mostly mid-majors and kind of ball out and be good, Tweener, but maybe not Power 4, SEC, Big Ten type athletes. Well, now you're more willing to take a chance on said players. Like, you're going to take a chance on the Deshaun Bishops. You're going to take a chance on the Will Brooks, and we know what Will Brooks turned into here at the University of Tennessee. Tennessee's best safety last year, tied for the SEC lead, I believe, with 4 interceptions with teammates. Who was it? Jermon McCoy, yes. So it's going to take those guys away, but also it's going to allow programs to take more chances, specifically on local players. I think that's going to be affected here in East Tennessee and the Knoxville area. So that's interesting. But also when you look at other sports in terms of cutting down the roster, Tennessee baseball, for instance, there is a 40-man active roster for the Southeastern or for college baseball every single year. Tennessee has 51 players on its roster technically. So 11 of those players are redshirted, not on the active roster, practice players. They just kind of hang out, right? They're a part of the team, but they cannot play in any games that year. So you're taking a roster that has 51 technically, but 40 on the active. You're cutting it down to 34. Tennessee's already said that it's going to go full scholarship. Okay, it's going to full scholarship for basketball, football, baseball, softball, all that and more. But you're going from 51 to 34. But then there's this thing about a grandfathered in approach, meaning that if you're currently on the team, you can stay there on the team. But there's also a caveat in there that if said player on the team is accepting any type of name, image, and likeness money, they have to count towards the scholarship number. So is that really a grandfathered in approach? No, it's not. But nonetheless, how's that going to look? What's that number? Is there going to be some leeway for the fall rosters? Do they have to get the fall rosters trimmed down by December the 1st? Again, these are all questions that I just simply don't have the answer for right now. And a lot of these questions that I'm saying aloud right now, there are specifically baseball coaches around the country asking these same questions. So I'm very confused. I think baseball specifically, there is a winter transfer portal window. You might not have known about it because it's not been very active. I mean, that's how Alberto Ozuna got to Tennessee from Tampa. I think the winter window of the transfer portal for baseball specifically, or spring sports, is about to be hopping. And those players, if they get cut or ran off from their school, they deserve to enter the portal and transfer somewhere else and be eligible to play for that season. So roster size, very confusing right now in the implementation stage. 3-4 years from now, it won't be, but what's that going to look like moving forward? But the biggest thing with this House settlement is rev share is coming to college athletics. It's going to be different on every campus. Tennessee's rev share percentages will be different from LSU's. LSU's will be different from Alabama. Alabama's will be different from Florida. But you would assume that the bulk of the better Power 4, specifically SEC and Big Ten, Super 2, if you will, are going to have a similar model in terms of what percentage goes to what sports. But I mean, let's sit here and use our brain here, right? We all went to school, economics, supply, demand, and all that. Okay, football pays for everything. Football funds non-revenue sports. Football keeps the lights on of the university, right? I'm not saying it funds everything, but it funds an awful lot. So of course, football deserves the biggest piece of the pie. That's just natural understanding, okay? Your second biggest revenue generator in the athletic department is men's basketball. I'm using Tennessee as an example. Of course, if we went to Duke University, men's basketball would be number 1, football would be number 2. But for the most part, 99% of football programs that have a football team, football is the biggest revenue generator. So on Tennessee's campus, the biggest piece of the pie goes to football. The second largest piece of the pie should go to men's basketball. And then what? Should women's basketball get the next biggest slice? Should it be baseball? Where does softball come into the mix here? I mean, I'm very curious to know, and if we will ever know, what percentage of the rev share goes to what said sports. Because we know football is going to be taken care of. But also, this is going to be affecting in recruiting as well. You're going to be recruiting these high-level 4-star prospects, some of these 5-star prospects, and those guys are going to have all the name, image, likeness opportunities they want. By the way, name, image, likeness isn't going away, but more on that here in a moment. But is there a difference? And maybe it won't be affected by these guys, but just your normal recruits. Well, hey, football players are going to get, I don't know, what is it, 22% or whatever it is, here, but only 19% here. Is that enough to make the difference? I don't think so. But nonetheless, I think that the percentage is going to be more in that regard, but, we'll have to see. Also, there's this governing body that is trying to facilitate NIL contracts, trying to put guardrails on deals that athletes can sign. If it's over, $600? Is that what it is? I mean, that's not going to work. Are you kidding me? How many lawsuits are about to happen in that regard? You have an athlete. If they're advised correctly by people around them, they're going to say, you are worth every single penny of what somebody is going to pay you. And if that payment is $10,000, if that payment is $1 million, you don't have to show that to anybody. You don't have to let anybody know about that. The NCAA is trying to say, we're trying to put guardrails on here, and it's got to go through, I forgot what they're calling the College Sports Commission or whatever it is. They're trying to go through this system to accept all NIL deals. Ooh, good luck controlling that, because that's not going to work. That's going to be lawsuit after lawsuit after lawsuit. So again, I say all this. There are so many more questions than there are answers right now. The next few months are going to be really, really interesting to see how all these questions get sorted out when this all starts really for the 2026 calendar year or the 2026 year in January. So, I mean, baseball is going to be affected first, in my opinion. I mean, based on roster sizes and all that, and how these roster questions are worked out for the first year or two. There's so many different avenues to this house settlement, but in my opinion, rev share, the NIL controlling arm, and roster limits are the biggest and most important because they affect a lot. I mean, full scholarship's a good deal, right? Full scholarship's a good deal, especially for teams, for programs like baseball that were not on full scholarship. Okay, that's a big deal, but also cutting down your roster is a big deal as well for those sports. So anyway, the house settlement passes. How long until we get the first lawsuit in regards to a name, image, likeness deal that has been denied? Can't wait to find that out. And of course, we'll be here to follow it every single step of the way right here on Locked On Vols. I mean, there's always stuff changing in this landscape, and we got to be able to adapt. And I'm trying to turn my mouse back on so I can, okay, here we go. Trying to pull up my ad read here. I would say this is live radio, but it's not. I could edit this out if I wanted to. Nonetheless, interesting times with the house settlement. And of course, we'll continue to update this ever-evolving window here in college athletics. Baseball season's coming to an end. Kind of sad, kind of frustrating a little bit, but still a really, really good season for Tony Vitello's club. We'll discuss the Fayetteville Super Regional losses when we return right here on Locked On Vols. The NBA playoffs are in full swing, and every night delivers highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shifts, can't-miss moments. Whether it's an in-game shot or a breakout player, there's never been a better time to get in on that action. FanDuel makes it super easy to get in the game before tip-off and live with player props, performance trends, same-game parlays. Fans have more ways than ever to play smart and to win big. You guys know I watch Major League Baseball every single night. My Atlanta Braves, 10 games under 500. Woof! What a horrible season. But I can bet against my Atlanta Braves because I know them better than anybody over at FanDuel Sportsbook. Win-loss totals for college football playoff chances, SEC odds, all that and more is over at FanDuel Sportsbook for the college football season. So not just the NBA playoffs, not just the Stanley Cup playoffs, but college football futures over at FanDuel Sportsbook. New to FanDuel, it's the perfect time to sign up. Head on over to FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. If it wins, you're going to get $200 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. Hey guys, welcome back to your Tuesday morning Locked On Vols. I am Eric Kane, and currently recording this podcast here in Fayetteville, Arkansas. Going to be hopping a plane here soon, coming back to Knoxville, back to God's country, as they say. But ultimately a shorter trip than envisioned. I mean, I guess if Tennessee would have won the first two games, I'd be in the same boat right now. I thought Tennessee was going to go to 3 games and decide the outcome between two very good baseball teams, who's going to go on to Omaha for the College World Series, but that was not in store for Tennessee. 5th straight Super Regional appearance, 7th in program history. No other program in all of college baseball has gone to more than 3 straight currently. Okay, only a handful of teams under the current format that was in place since 1999 have even gone to 5 straight Super Regionals. So, I mean, the fact that Tennessee is such a model of consistency, that should be worth noted here. But Tennessee comes up short, and if Tennessee was positioned or playing a super against another team, maybe we're talking about a different story here. I think Arkansas is really, really good. I think Arkansas is the best team in the country. I understand Arkansas has had a lot of upsets in postseason play. Couldn't even get out of their regional before this year, the past 2 years. For a program that calls themselves the Omaha Hogs, they've never won a College World Series. I get all that. I get it. I hear you. But Arkansas is a really good baseball team this year. So if Tennessee was playing anybody else, maybe we're talking about something else. But Zach Root absolutely shoved on Saturday, and he let Tennessee know about it. That bullpen for Arkansas didn't even throw all their guys, and that bullpen's deeper than any other bullpen in the country, in my opinion. Didn't even have to throw all their guys. Offense struggled mightily in Fayetteville for Tennessee. And it's unfortunate because the last month, the bats have really came around. The offense that disappeared, a little disappearing act there the last couple of weeks of the regular season during that stretch, really started to turn around. I guess it was the series before Fayetteville, which was the last regular season series of the year against Arkansas, against Vanderbilt, and then Arkansas, then the SEC tournament, and then on into regional play. But they were nowhere to be accounted for this weekend. And Zach Root pitched a phenomenal game on Saturday. It was the most lopsided one-run game I think I've ever seen in my life. Tennessee didn't go away. Tennessee kept battling and battling. I'm not trying to say Tennessee rolled over and gave up. That's not true. But Tennessee lost 4-3. Tennessee was out hit 10-2 in that game. Tennessee didn't have its first hit until the 5th inning. Tennessee didn't have its first base runner until the 5th inning. And that second hit was the third run of the game that was put up on the board. It was a solo home run from Andrew Fisher in the top of the 9th inning. The other hit was that 2-run home run in the 5th inning that put Tennessee on the board and gave them just a very brief lead. That was it in terms of the offense in game number 1. In game number 2, Tennessee loaded the bases in the 3rd inning, got 1 run out of it. Same thing happened last Monday against Wake Forest. Tennessee loaded the bases, no outs, got 1 run to show for it. Now, against Wake Forest in the 4th inning of that game, Tennessee put a 7 spot up on the board. Against Arkansas in the top of the 4th inning, the Hogs put a 5 spot on the board. So they loaded the bases with 2 outs, hit a grand slam. A little bit of a difference there. And ultimately that game on Sunday got out of hand. It was 11-2 at one point in time. Tennessee walked the bases loaded twice, walked in runs with the bases loaded twice. Just wasn't a very good day, really weekend for Tennessee. And that lineup, I talk about the pitching, that lineup for Arkansas, in my opinion, is the best lineup as well. The deepest lineup, top to bottom, filled with guys that, I mean, they have 7 guys in the starting lineup that are hitting over 300. And oh yeah, the 2 guys who are hitting below 300, one's hitting 290, one's hitting 285. One's hit 13 bombs on the year as well. It's just a good team, man. And so you can be frustrated. I can't tell anybody how to fan. That's not what I'm trying to do. But I'm like, talking to myself more than anything. Like, you can be frustrated. You can be aggravated. But at the end of the day, you need to sit here back and think. Like, I continue to go back to what Tony Vitello said last weekend, kind of just voicing out loud some frustration. It's been a frustrating year for a number of reasons. But he's like, hey, you can't expect dominance. What you can't expect is consistency. And that's what the Tennessee baseball program is. It is consistent as they come. How many times did you think the Tennessee baseball team was hit rock bottom this year? And I'm not trying to say you're overblown or anything, but I mean, at one point in time, Tennessee had lost 5 straight series entering the SEC tournament. Tennessee dropped 6 of the past 7 SEC series. I get all that. The times were tough at points in time, right? But still, this team was good enough to host a regional, win a regional, and come up 2 wins shy of the College World Series. So it's okay to be frustrated, in my opinion. It's okay to be aggravated. But overall, especially when you look at the past, and I went back and did a research on this and kind of look back at the last 10 national champions. I put it on the board over at volquest.com a couple weeks ago. I don't have it in front of me, and I apologize. But if you go back and look at the past national champions, it ain't pretty, guys. Use 2022 Ole Miss as an example. What did Ole Miss do in 2023? It didn't do crap. It won 6 regular season SEC games. That's what it did. Or maybe that was Mississippi State. Mississippi State won in 21. And what did they do in 2022? It was not pretty. Okay? The outlier in this whole conversation was Florida, who won in 2017. And in 2018, it went back to supers and had a really good year in the SEC. My point in all this is, it is so incredibly tough that next year after winning a national title, because of a lot of reasons Tony Vitello has already mentioned this year. Like, they couldn't attack the portal the way they wanted to last summer because they were never at home. They were never on campus, right? You spent 2 weeks in Omaha, okay? It's really hard to sell prospects to your program when you're doing it over Zoom and say, oh, yeah, we got this, we got that, oh, this stadium, look at all this. Oh, wait, I'm not there, man. Next time you're up, if you come up, I can show you all this construction, what we're planning to do here, right? Or, we can show you the river right here. We can show you campus. I'll show you Smokies, but I'm not there. Like, it's tough. And so they couldn't attack the portal the way they wanted to. Now, I mean, the guys they got from the portal, they're pretty damn good, right? I mean, Gavin Keelan, pretty good, right? Andrew Fisher, pretty good. No, yeah, that guy named Liam Doyle, who is probably going to be the national pitcher of the year. So I hear you, Tony, and talking about you can't attack the portal the way you wanted to, but the guys you got, along with Tanner Franklin, Jeff County, pretty good. Pretty good. So this year's going to be different. They have a lot more time because they're going home now. They have a lot more time to attack the portal, and I think Tennessee is going to absolutely attack the portal. I expect a couple of visitors this week. I think Tennessee, they've already technically gotten 3 transfer portal commits, one from a mid-major, one from Division III, and one from Division III, one JUCO. No, one from Kennesaw State as well. So 2 mid-majors and 1 from Division III, and then there's been 2 junior college right-handers as well that have committed. But a lot of those guys are draft risks. My point is, they're already addressing pitching. You need pitching galore. You need bullpen help galore. You need a frontline starting pitcher to replace Liam Doyle for sure. You need a power bat. Tennessee might explore a catcher, a catching option, but you need a power bat, a corner on the infield. Basically, you need to replace Andrew Fisher, easier said than done. You need to replace Liam Doyle, easier said than done. And, potentially Tennessee could be without its starting outfield next year. So I'm going to go over a way too early look at the Tennessee baseball roster on tomorrow's show. But, it's one of those deals where even after winning a national title, even after starting 20-0 and being the last undefeated team left in Division I, and a lot of the talk started ramping up there. I'm like, oh, could this team be better than last year's team? We need to have a serious conversation about the Tennessee Vols and how they might be better than 2024 Vols. And I'm just sitting here, and I'm just like, the disrespect. And I know that the Tennessee fans who were saying stuff like that weren't meaning it to be disrespectful. They were just excited about their team, and that's fine. But 2024 was historic. Number one, you won a national title, but look at that lineup. 6 guys, or I don't have it off the top of my head, but all these guys hit over 20 home runs. 8 guys who had over 10 home runs, number 3 in ERA in the country or whatever it was. I mean, it was historic. Christian Moore, historic season. Blake Burke, Billy Amick, Tavares Tears, Dylan Dryland, Cal Starr, all those guys, right? Sander Seacrest, co-host of The Porch, Charlie Taylor. That was historic. And then you see them go into SEC play, and you start off SEC play with a sweep over Florida. You're like, man, here we go. And then you start hitting some rough patches, and then you forgot how to field a baseball, and then you forgot how to hit a baseball. And then you see your ace and Liam Doyle continue to struggle a little bit. And, oh, yeah, you don't have a number 3 starter. And, man, Marcus Phillips can't hold runners on. And, gosh, Tennessee doesn't have a bullpen. And all those were true at points in times, right? But then Tennessee wins a couple of games in Hoover, wins the regional, and, again, is on the brink of the College World Series. So, all in all, good season. You can be upset, you can be frustrated, but when you sit here and look at the past national championship winners, Tennessee has easily had the best season that followed than any of the last in like the last 10 years. So, unfortunate. A lot of great guys. The careers came to an end. Season came to an end. Can't wait to see where Liam Doyle is going to be drafted. Andrew Fisher, Dean Curley, all those guys. And, of course, we'll cover it right here on VolQuest.com. But overall, this past weekend in Fayetteville, just a really, really good team. Tennessee's offense was MIA, and at points in time, Tennessee's pitching wasn't where it needed to be. And it's unfortunate because Liam Doyle's last outing in a Tennessee uniform, was taken out in the 4th inning after 3 2/3 inning when Tennessee was playing matchup, and then it really went downhill from there. He was laboring and all that, but nonetheless. So baseball season has come to an end. What does next year's baseball team look like? We'll get a way too early glance at the Tennessee Volunteers next year on tomorrow's Locked On Vols. But coming up next, we're going to answer your mailbag questions. All that and more as we continue on here with a Tuesday morning Locked On Vols. All right, guys, we've got a final segment left here this Tuesday morning Locked On Vols, and I try to open up the question forums each and every Tuesday so you guys can ask some questions. I understand sometimes I miss them, and I apologize. Baseball season is over, so hopefully once we get through the bulk of portal season, there'll be some time to chill out a little bit and really hit a lot of these offseason topics. But I got a couple questions in here. We're going to start with Caleb over here, and he sent in a couple questions, a couple football questions. Who needs to step up on the defensive line this season? I mean, I think the easy answer is Joshua Josephs, right? I mean, he was really good for Tennessee last year. Pro Football Focus adores Joshua Josephs. He led Tennessee in TFLs. Joshua Josephs needs to bring the quarterback down more, though. He needs to get back in there. I mean, James Pierce's sack numbers were down this past year, still led Tennessee in sacks, the first-round draft pick of the Atlanta Falcons, but his quarterback hurries were way up, and he was one of the most disruptive defensive players, albeit not enough sacks this past year, but he was still one of the most productive defensive players in the country. Joshua Josephs needs to be like that for Tennessee this year and expand on those TFLs. So that's kind of where I'll go with that. Is Braylon Staley good? Yeah, good question. I guess we're going to find out, right? I mean, there's not too many options for the University of Tennessee at wide receiver. I will say he looked good in the spring coming out of the slot. I remember last spring when he was an early enrollee, he really impressed, right? I mean, he was showing out more than Mike Matthews was. But yeah, I think the coaching staff really likes Braylon Staley's skill set in the slot position, and we'll see, man. He's really going to have to be a guy for Tennessee in terms of a reliable target for Joey Aguilar or Jake Merklinger, whoever's going to be quarterbacking for the University of Tennessee. Last question here from Caleb. How big is Coach Chop's promotion? It's big, don't get me wrong, but a lot of it, I don't think that much is going to change. And I mean no disrespect to to Mike Eckler. I don't mean any disrespect to him, but ever since they passed that law, or that rule to where your analysts can be on the field coaching and everything, I mean, Coach Chop has been very much involved in the defensive line, very much involved in coaching those Leos. And, oh, yeah, Coach Chop has been the lead recruiter for Tennessee's staff, each of the past couple of years, coordinating everything on campus, kind of leading the charge on campus, calling these guys and going on the road for a Willie Martinez or going on the road for a Joey Halsley or going on the road for somebody. I mean, Coach Chop has already kind of been there, been doing that. So it's big. Don't get me wrong. It's a little bit – he was already a very well-compensated analyst. I'm sure he got a little bit of a bump in pay too. So it's big, but overall, I don't think it changes an awful lot simply because he's already been doing a lot of this stuff. Hope that answers your question. Appreciate your questions there. Let's go to Jared. He's got a couple of baseball questions. Was there any Achilles heel that ultimately restricted us from being more successful this season? I mean, I still go back to pitching. I don't think Tennessee had enough pitching this year, and I think that showed up this past weekend, but again, Arkansas is a good team, but I still don't think Tennessee had enough pitching to kind of feel good about getting through weekend series and all that. I think at points in times, third game of the series, you kind of ran out, right? And that's never where you want to be. Was this season a success in your eyes? Yeah, I mean, I don't want to sound complacent. I don't want to sound like a participation trophy, right, guy, because I'm not. But again, you just won a national championship. You lost your entire team almost. And you were 2 wins away from getting back to Omaha. You hosted a regional. You advanced to a super regional. Again, we can't, it's so incredibly difficult to get to Omaha. It is the hardest thing in all of sports, in my opinion, to win a College World Series. And I know people, say, oh, no, it's basketball, it's the tournament, or all this stuff. In my opinion, it is to win the College World Series. And just to get to Omaha is so challenging. So for me, yes, this season is a success. Was it aggravating at times? Yeah. Was it frustrating at times? Sure. But was it a success? Yeah, because Tennessee advanced to a super, had a winning record in the SEC, and didn't absolutely crap the bed like Ole Miss and Mississippi State did after they won national titles. So, question number 3. Seriously, should Jay have been starting in left field? You put an LOL in there, but I know there's a lot of people asking that. Dalton Bargo hit over 300 in SEC play, and I want to say was like 3rd or 4th in SEC play on the team in home runs. He had a good year. He's always been a streaky player. He's never been a great defender. But he slumped big time. Him and Reese Chapman and Hunter Inslee, they all slumped in postseason play. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, it's bad. Like Reese Chapman, Dalton Bargo, I think was 1 for 23 with 8 strikeouts. It was bad. Now, do you respect Tony for sticking with his guys? Absolutely. That's why his players love him. Did you want to switch things up this late in the year? I don't know. LSU did. Right? LSU did. West Virginia did. Like, they mixed up their lineup. West Virginia had a first baseman that was hitting 155, playing in a super, right? And, I mean, LSU took the leadoff man, batted him 7th the other day. So, I'm not saying it's not been done, but, this staff doesn't believe in mixing things up this late in the season. But, ultimately, Bargo was slumping. It's unfortunate. As far as Jay, I wanted him to play more all season long. Big Jay Abernathy fan right here. So, I think he's going to be a stud moving forward. What's going to take, let's see here, who's gone and what does next year's way too early starting lineup look like? Due to time, I'm going to do all this on tomorrow's show. Okay, I'm going to answer that question on tomorrow's show because I wrote a story about that. It's up at volquest.com right now, but getting a way too early look at the 2026 baseball roster, so I'm going to do that tomorrow. And then I'll do this one tomorrow as well because this is a fun conversation. All-time Tony V starting lineup. Liam Doyle's on it for sure. For sure. Hunter Inslee's probably on it too. For me, but that's a good exercise. I'll get to it later in the week. Let's go Randy. Eric, I think people are very underestimating in preseason rankings, at least this Vol Hoops team for 25-26. I think they will be as good as last year's team, and on the front court, unlike anything we've seen at Tennessee, and add in Ament and Gillespie. Can't wait to watch. Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to watch too. I would caution, again, not going to tell anybody how to fan. This is just me, Randy. I would caution saying every bit as good as last year's team. Last year's team was an Elite 8 team, right? Last year's team was an Elite 8 team. And sure, you didn't have Dalton Connect, but you had a pretty daggone good scorer that had over 100 3-pointers in the season in Chaz Lanier. It's pretty good. Front court, I'm with you, man. I think the front court's going to be stout. I think it's going to have depth. Will it be the best front court Tennessee's had in a while? Well, remember, you had Schofield and Grant Williams here for quite some time, and they were a pretty good tandem. And I know Admiral was more of a wing, but still, that was a pretty good front court. But to your point, I'm excited about Tennessee basketball too. I think it's going to be fun. I think he did a great job recruiting. I like the front court as well. I'm excited to see Gillespie. We'll see if Zakai Ziegler's a part of this team or not, or what that's going to look like, or Jordan Gainey. But I think Tennessee's going to be pretty good in 2025 and 2026 for sure. All right, I think that's it. Appreciate you guys, as always, for sending in your questions, your comments, and your concerns. We do it every single Tuesday right here on Locked On Vols. Answer your mailbag questions for you every day. Could not do this show without you. With that being said, appreciate you for being here on tomorrow's show. Let me take a look at my little notepad here. We're going to do some early football predictions. Record, MVP, best true freshman, best newcomer, most improved. Be thinking about that. Who would you list ahead of the season for all those categories? An early look at the Tennessee Baseball 2026 roster. And ESPN predicts Tennessee to finish where in the SEC? Don't worry, it's good. It's good. All that coming up on tomorrow's show right here on Locked On Vols. Thank you guys so much. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday, everybody.